12 playoff teams, 1 conference in CFB 26 Dynasty. I can never get my hats quite right. I promise you that my hat collection is better than what you've seen, but I can never figure it out with a stupid green screen. Anyway, we've got all 12 teams in the Pac-12 here. We thought about putting Notre Dame in, but at the last second, we decided that Miami would go in instead. We're going to roll with Pitt. We're going to do 3 seasons. After each season, we're going to put the new playoff teams into the Pac-12. I just tried to do this video and I messed up and forgot to switch the teams into the conference for the first season. So that's my bad. Louisville won the national championship, so it was a super exciting start. But of course, I messed it up. So if you want to see more of me messing a video up and having to re-record it 6 or 7 times, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel because we'll be doing it every single day for you. Here we are at the first CFP poll. Let's see. So Louisville is doing well yet again, so maybe I didn't mess it up too bad, although there are some different results than we had the first time. We have Alabama, who is 6-1. They are our top team in the Pac-12. Indiana is number 7. We've got Texas Tech at number 8. They all have, okay, so Indiana lost a non-conference game. Who did they lose to? Indiana lost to Penn State on the road. Okay, so interesting, they lose that game. Alabama lost a conference game. Texas Tech lost a conference game as well. Who's our next team in here? Georgia, number 18. Georgia won it the first season. They, of course, are looking like they're struggling a little bit here this season. Yeah, and those are our teams there. Let's go ahead and look at the conference standings. Ohio State, Oregon, not in the top 25. Oklahoma not in the top 25. Okay, so Tulane is actually the next team outside the top 25. Ohio State is up in there. They're 3-3. So we have quite a few 3-loss teams currently. Oregon's one of those 3-loss teams as well. I think they play Alabama this upcoming week. So could be a big shakeup. Could finally put Oregon out of their misery. Tulane has seemed to do a little bit better than James Madison. James Madison's 0-4 so far. And then kind of the bottom tier SEC teams are not doing so well as well. So we're going to sim to the our conference championship games and see who might be making it in next season. It looks like we got a couple teams that have a chance to make it back, and then who is going to be dropped to drop back to their old conference after this season. Pitt is number 22 in the country, 8-4, a very good first season so far. Louisville is in the ACC championship game against Clemson. We got Temple and North Texas in the American championship game. Interesting. Basically, well, an important matchup here because probably the loser of this game might not be in, even if it's TCU with this game. So that's an interesting one. Rutgers in the Big Ten championship game. That is not a usual sight. Boise State probably has to win and get in, but they are number 12. Texas Tech is probably in regardless of the result of this game. Indiana could make it in, of course, with the win. And then an unranked Florida team takes on Texas in the SEC championship game. Let's look at the rest of the top 25, see what other teams might be in for us in the Pac-12. Louisville just lost. They were 12-0 and the number 1 team in the country before they lost at Kentucky, which is a rivalry game, but I don't know the name of it. We don't have anybody else that's going to make it. Texas Tech. Oh, Georgia. I missed Georgia. Okay, so Georgia's in. Texas Tech is in. If Indiana wins, they will get in. Alabama is probably not in no matter what happens above them. And A&M is our other ranked team, and they're 7-5. So it is a gauntlet to go through the Pac-12. And it looks like we're going to have quite a few new teams. Alabama and Indiana are on the border. Texas Tech and Georgia have almost certainly secured their spot for next season. Let's see what the CFP bracket looks like. Joseph Manjack IV just won the Heisman. I've never heard that name in my entire life. I haven't been super tuned in to TCU football, but is that a real person? Or that I have no idea who that man is. But he just won the Heisman Trophy as a wide receiver for TCU. Pitt, they make a bowl game. They'll take on UConn in the J-Lab Birmingham Bowl. Think about that. Pretty good one. All right. Let's see who is in the bracket here. So Louisville did win the conference championship game. They're the number 2 seed. Texas Tech won the Pac-12 conference championship game. So they secure their spot in the Cotton Bowl. They will take on the winner of Georgia and Missouri. So most likely we're going to have Georgia and Texas Tech in the second round for the right to guide the Pac-12 through the rest of this conference. The ACC is super successful here. Louisville, SMU, Clemson, and Florida State all make it in the first season. Missouri, Texas, they are representing the SEC. Iowa State and TCU are representing the Big 12. Boise State is representing the Mountain West, and Penn State is the sole Big 10 team in, and they are in the Rose Bowl. So the winner of SMU Clemson will take on Texas in the Sugar Bowl. Interesting that Texas Tech gets the Cotton Bowl and not Texas. I don't know why. TCU will take on Florida State, with the winner taking on Penn State in the Rose Bowl. And Boise State and Iowa State, the winner will take on Louisville. So we'll see if Louisville can do this back-to-back and win a national championship twice, even though you didn't see the first one. I promise you it happened. And we'll see what happens with the Pac-12 there. But this is the Pac-12 for next season. Pitt wins the Birmingham Bowl. They dancing in Alabama. Pitt gets a 9-4 season with a victory in the first year of the sim. All right, so Georgia does get the victory over Clemson or Missouri in the first round. They will take on Texas Tech in the All Pac-12 Bowl. SMU loses to Clemson. We miss out on a Texas Bowl in the second round between SMU and Texas. It'll actually be Clemson and Texas in the Sugar Bowl. TCU does take care of business in the first round. They beat Florida State by 4. They're in the Rose Bowl against Penn State, and Boise State gets a non-power conference win after they beat Iowa State 29-24. They will take on Louisville in the Orange Bowl. That is a BCS Buster Bowl, if you will. So Texas Tech wins the unofficial second Pac-12 championship after they beat Georgia by 8. Clemson gets past number 1 overall and undefeated Texas. Texas loses their first game in the quarterfinal. I know how that feels as a Ducks fan. Penn State beats TCU, and Boise State beats Louisville. So they don't get a repeat, but I promise you that they won in the first season that I tried to do this. I promise you that it happened. So the more exciting bowl does not happen. Clemson beats Texas Tech, so the farthest we get along in the Pac-12 is the semifinal. Penn State beats Boise State in a rematch of last year's playoff game, so it's Penn State and Clemson in Miami for the national championship. And Penn State gets the win in the first year. James Franklin saves his job. Oh man, how Penn State fans would kill for this right now. Penn State wins by 2 touchdowns. This will be the Pac-12 next season. We're going to see if we get a rematch of the national championship game in next year's conference championship game. And we're going to see if Texas Tech and Georgia can make it through to the final season with all 3 seasons being in the Pac-12. That will be interesting to see. We're going to go to custom conferences. I'm not going to mess it up this time, and we'll see you next season. Okay, here is our new conference for 2026. Boise State, Clemson, Florida State, Georgia, Iowa State, Louisville, Missouri, Penn State, SMU, TCU, Texas, and Texas Tech. 4 different Texas teams. The Big 12 is also well represented. The ACC is well represented. And I would imagine that we're going to get some teams that cycle out, because now we've got these big power teams that are back to their regular conferences and should be able to get some wins this season. Folks, Pitt is number 6 in the country. Okay. All right, we got a little bit going on here. Okay, let's see what's going on in the Pac-12. Texas Tech looks like they might just find their way in for the 3rd straight season. That would be an accomplishment for Texas Tech. They tend to fall off usually in the 2nd and 3rd year of a sim, so this is pretty interesting to see here. We got a couple teams. Alabama might try to make it back in. Clemson is another top 10 team that's currently a Pac-12 team. Oregon's trying to make it back in for this next season. Florida State, Texas, these are teams that are right on the edge. Indiana, Ohio State were teams that were in last year. They are trying to get back in. TCU is hanging strong. Georgia has got still something to say left in this season. So there's quite a bit of our teams that are around here and probably better than last season. Maybe it's better balanced because of the teams that we're in. Let's go take a look at the conference standings and see. Looks like Louisville is not doing what we were wanting them to do. Oh, this is ACC. Pac-12. Louisville is struggling 0-5 in conference. Not great. Missouri is all struggling 0-6 in conference. SMU. Penn State, last year's national champion, does not look like they're going to repeat. We were hoping for a Clemson, Penn State conference championship game. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. Texas Tech is holding strong, though, and 3 Texas teams in the top 25 and all 3 of them have a good chance at making the playoff because we still have a lot of football to play, being that it's only week 10, and a lot of these teams have 3 or 4 games left in the season. So let's go ahead and sim to the conference championship games, see what we get, and go from there. Pitt crapped a fucking bed. They lost 3 of their last 4 games, go 9-3. They're not doing well. Clemson and Florida State are in the Pac-12 championship game, so not sure exactly what happened there, but Florida State is in. They're 6-2, so not sure what happened to Texas Tech. Anything else interesting? There's only one for sure conference championship game, USC and UCLA. Both of those teams are in the CFP, regardless of the outcome there. All LA, they're playing in Indiana, but this game should just be in LA. Should just be at SoFi. Anyway, Boston College and Miami. Miami wins and they're in, and then they make it back into the conference. They're probably in either way. Boston College could sneak in, but they probably wouldn't, because West Virginia probably has something to say about that. Florida will be getting in next season for sure. We'll be getting both of these teams in the Pac-12, coming back to the Pac-12 next season for sure as well. Clemson looks like they have secured their spot in next season as well. Let's look at the top 25, see if there's anything surprising going on. Why, oh why, Pitt, did you decide to lose so much? Michigan will be making it in. Duke will be making it in. Notre Dame will be making it in. Miami, like we said, will most likely be back. Oregon will most likely be back. TCU and Texas could very well hold their spots unexpectedly, because Texas Tech definitely they went 1-4 in their final 4 games, 1-3 in the final 4 games of the season. They lost to TCU right after we simmed. They end up beating Ohio. Then they lose 2 more conference games to Georgia, to Boise State, and lose their spot in the final season. Georgia also doesn't look like they're going to make it back in next season. So we get 0 teams that make it through 3 straight seasons. Let's sim the conference championship games, see who is actually in for our final season. Did John Mateer win back-to-back? No. Whatever that dude wide receiver from TCU won 2025. I didn't know John Mateer was going to even be back for 2026. He wins the Heisman Trophy after he gets out of the Pac-12. That's interesting to see. Pitt is going to be going back to the Birmingham Bowl. Very disappointing Birmingham Bowl. It was exciting the first season. This is a very disappointing Birmingham Bowl. Both Pitt and Texas Tech fell apart at the end of the season, being top 5 teams going in the first CFP poll. Let's take a look at this bracket here. Who made it in? East Carolina sneaks in from outside of the game. So that is a sneaky team next season. UCLA end up winning that Big Ten championship game. Clemson stays in. TCU stays in. Texas, all 3 stay in for next season. Oregon and Miami make it back in, and we'll have new teams with Notre Dame, USC, UCLA, Michigan, Florida, Duke, and East Carolina. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams will have played in 2 of 3 seasons. 0 teams make it in all 3 seasons. Penn State won it last year. Clemson was the runner-up. They win a national championship. They are in line for best team in the conference. Best conference in the video is going to be a little bit trickier because people are moving around. So we're probably just going to do best team in the conference. UCLA is undefeated, number 1 seed, and they're taking on one of our repeat teams in Oregon or Miami in the second round. Duke and East Carolina, that's probably the best lineup to get in the second round for Florida. Texas and USC, that's a rematch of the 2005 BCS National Championship. Winner will take on Michigan, and TCU Notre Dame, winner will take on Clemson. We're dancing in the streets of Birmingham yet again, but we want to spend time in a bigger state than Alabama at the end of the season. Pitt needs to figure it out next season. They had it within their grasp, being number 4 in the country, I think maybe even number 3 in the country, and losing 3 of their final 4 games. Duke crushes East Carolina, who snuck in, but East Carolina is going to be in the Pac-12 next season. They did enough to get in there in the final season. Oregon beats Miami by 3 in the Mario Cristobal Bowl. Oregon will take on UCLA. That is a been there, done that for Oregon. How many times have they beaten UCLA? That's the Chip Kelly Bowl, I guess we'll call it. USC crushes Texas in revenge for what Vince Young did to USC. USC will now take on Michigan in the We Want to Leave the Big Ten Bowl in the Fiesta Bowl. Notre Dame gets past TCU 32-21. Notre Dame finally gets their win. They can stop whining. They will take on Clemson in the Peach Bowl. Duke absolutely crushes Florida 49-3 in the Cotton Bowl. They'll take on Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Oregon gets past UCLA by 10 in the Orange Bowl. We had Duke and Oregon in the first year national championship in our last video, so a bit of a lore for the More Bucky Barracks channel. USC gets past Michigan in the We Want to Leave the Big Ten Bowl, and Clemson beats Notre Dame. Notre Dame is actually going to go on a media tour complaining about how Clemson beat them so bad and how they're heartbroken and they were gut punched and all of this. But Clemson will take on USC in the Sugar Bowl for the right to play in the national championship game for the second straight season for Clemson. Okay, so we get the classic Pac-12 championship. If you put the teams back in their rightful conferences, this is the Pac-12 championship you get every single season. USC and Oregon. USC gets past Clemson by 10. Oregon gets past Duke by 18. It would have either been an all Pac-12 or an all ACC matchup, depending on who won there. We get the Pac-12, Oregon versus USC in Vegas. This is even more so an old school Pac-12 championship game because they would play in Vegas after Allegiant Stadium was put in. What a finish to the second season. And the Trojans get the win. So we have Penn State and USC as the first two national champions. USC wins by 8 against Oregon. We're going to go ahead and put all of these teams into the Pac-12 for the final season. We'll see who can pull off the final victory. Is it Penn State that's going to be the best one? Is it USC that's going to be the best one? Or will we see one of these teams that have been in multiple playoffs like Clemson, like Oregon, Texas, TCU? Will one of those teams find their way to win the national championship game and take the best team crown? Here's the lineup for the final season of our video. Clemson, Miami, TCU, Texas, and Oregon all are in for their second season of the video. Duke, Michigan, Notre Dame, East Carolina, UCLA, USC, and Florida are all in for their first season of the video. If any of these teams win the national championship game this season, they will by far be in the running for the best team in the video, but USC is definitely in the driver's seat with being the defending national champion. And of course, Clemson has a little bit of a boost on that because they made it to the original national championship game and have actually been in 2 of the first 3 playoffs. So we're going to sim to the CFP poll and see where we are at. Pitt is circling it yet again. They're number 20 in the country, but they already have 2 losses. They kind of need to turn it around here. But the Pac-12 is cooking. Michigan, Florida, Clemson, all in the top 5. We also have Texas, USC, UCLA in the top 12. Oregon just outside the top 12. Notre Dame in the top 20. And we have some former teams as well in Louisville, Penn State, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Tulane, Georgia, Alabama, all within the range here. So it's a very interesting final couple weeks of the season. And what we are seeing is that the Pac-12 is starting to get some boosts. Oh, I didn't even notice. Ohio State is also up there as well. They have failed pretty badly the first 2 seasons, but they find themselves in the top 5 in the final season here. What we're starting to see is that the Pac-12 is starting to get kind of the benefit of the doubt with this because we have a couple 2-loss teams ahead of a 1-loss team. 2-loss team ahead of a couple more 2-loss teams ahead of a undefeated team. We have a couple 2-loss teams here that are behind. We also have the highest ranked 3-loss team in the country, again, ahead of an undefeated team. And we have the second highest rated 3-loss team in the country. So the Pac-12 is starting to get its due, and they start to realize that all the best teams in the country continue to go back there. As we see, we have Pitt in the top 20 here. 2 losses. Where are we at with this? Let's see if they can get something going here. They lose to North Carolina and Boston College back to back. Not great, but Louisville, Southern Miss, Syracuse are all in the final weeks of the season. This could be the way to pull it out for Pitt and find their way into the college football playoff in our final season. Let's sim to the conference championship games. Actually, let's look at the Pac-12 conference standings. Actually, I didn't even notice that we have Louisville in the top 20 as well, who is also a conference alumnus, I guess, if you will. So we have, this is our best season yet at this point. Duke is even higher up than a couple of our ranked teams in the conference standings. TCU, who found a way to keep in for 2 seasons, obviously is not doing it quite this season. Miami, who also struggled in their 1 season so far, is struggling again this year. And East Carolina, who barely got into the playoffs last year as the number 18 team in the country, is 0-5 in the conference in their first season. So now let's go to the conference championship game and see who wins the conference this year. Pitt loses one of their final games. They're not in the ACC championship game, so I think we're going to find ourselves back in the Birmingham Bowl for the 3rd straight season. 1 versus 2 in the Pac-12 championship game. This is what we were looking for when we put this video together. Michigan, USC, they both moved in from the Big Ten last season. They are facing off and will both be in the college football playoff this season. For some reason, that is on a Friday night because although the Pac-12 is getting respect in the rankings, they did not change the video. A couple alumnus of the conference, Georgia and Alabama, both look like they're going to be in the college football playoff again. Penn State is also going to be back in the college football playoff. So USC and Penn State will both have a chance to be 2-time champions and be the best team in the video, as it looks like they're both going to be in the college football playoff. Maryland might find themselves in the college football playoff. I have not seen Maryland in there very many times, and it looks like Louisville probably has the best chance to find their way back as the 5th automatic qualifier. And it looks like we have a couple other teams that are going to be making it back in. So Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State's going to make it in for the first time, and UCLA might just find their way in. I don't think UCLA is going to find their way in because there is an automatic qualifier that's going to take one of the spots there. Oregon was kind of close up there to make it for their 3rd straight, or to make it into another college football playoff. But Clemson definitely is in the driver's seat for the best team because they're the only team that I see that's made it into all 3 college football playoffs in the span of our video. So Clemson is definitely in the front runner seat if they can win a national championship. And another person I've never heard of, Drew Mestamaker from North Texas, the Mean Green. If you watch our last video, you know Mean Machine, Mean Machine, Mean Machine. They win a Heisman Trophy in the 3rd season. Very, very weird Heisman Trophy things happening. Pitt does not go back to the Birmingham Bowl. They're in the Gasparilla Bowl. I don't know if that's a step up. I don't really know how to rank bowls anymore. I didn't realize that the Pop-Tart Bowl was like the best bowl outside of the college football playoff until they were able to offer both BYU and Notre Dame. Of course, I don't know if you caught this. Notre Dame declined to play in that bowl game. Now, I don't know if you caught that, but that, it hasn't been too much in the news, but they declined to play in that bowl game. I'm not exactly sure what their rationale was, but they declined to play in the bowl game as a part of their hissy fit for not making the CFP. As far as who did make the CFP in our final season here, we've got a couple teams from the Pac-12. USC, Michigan, Clemson, Notre Dame, all current Pac-12 teams are all top 6 seeds in this year's college football playoff. Former Pac-12 teams from this video: Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State, Boise State. So, of the teams that are currently in the playoff, only NC State, LSU, and BYU have not been in the Pac-12 in our video. 9 of the 12 teams are either currently in or have been in at some point the Pac-12 in our video. Again, Penn State, USC are our 2 champions so far. They are first in line for the best team in the video. If Clemson can find a way to win, they take the spot because they made the college football playoff 3 seasons. If someone else wins, then we got to start to have a conversation. Probably USC or Penn State would be in line unless it's another one of these multi-time playoff winners. We're just going to have to see. Anyway, Boise State and Penn State are a rematch of our semifinal from the first season and a rematch of the quarterfinal from 2024 in real life. Winner will take on Michigan in the Fiesta Bowl. Ohio State, NC State, winner will take on USC. If it's Ohio State and USC, that is a classic Rose Bowl game there. BYU and Notre Dame in the Pop-Tart Bowl that never was will play for a right to play Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. LSU and Georgia in a classic SEC matchup, with the winner taking on Clemson in the Peach Bowl. 3 bowl wins. We get a 10-win season in the final. I think we had 2 10-win seasons, 3 bowl wins, all kind of higher-end bowls, all ranked at the end of the season. It was a pretty successful time from Pitt, but don't forget that they went 1-3 in the final 4 weeks of last season to miss out on joining the Pac-12 and miss out on being in the college football playoff. That will never be forgiven. No bowl victories can make up for that end to the season, but they get a Gasparilla Bowl to add to their 2 J Labs Birmingham Bowls. The CFP bracket: Penn State gets the victory over Boise State. Third straight time they've beat Boise State in the College Football Playoff. They will take on Michigan. Their hope is still allowed to be the best team in the video. We get the classic Rose Bowl, USC and Ohio State. Again, we could have USC and Penn State playing for the best team in the video in the next round if they both win. Notre Dame gets past BYU in the Pop-Tart Bowl that never was. They will take on Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. And then LSU gets past Georgia. They will take on Clemson in the Peach Bowl. So LSU is the only team that has yet to be in the Pac-12 that got a win in the first round there. Everybody else has been in the Pac-12 previously in this video. We get the matchup we were looking for, folks. Penn State, USC in the Orange Bowl. USC wins by 2 touchdowns against Ohio State. Penn State wins by 2 scores against Michigan. Could have been Ohio State, Michigan. Instead, we get USC and Penn State. That's all Big Ten, top of the bracket, it looks like there. USC, Penn State will fight for a right for the national championship. Notre Dame and LSU will face off in the bottom there. That's the Brian Kelly Bowl, we'll call it. Neither of these teams won a national championship under Brian Kelly. I don't know if you know that, but the winner will have a chance in this video to take on one of the 2 teams that has won a national championship in our video so far. I think, without a doubt, the winner of that video or winner of that game gets best team in the video. There's no way Notre Dame or LSU have a better claim to that, but we could see one of them winning 2 national championships, which would be a shock because it's been a long time since either of the teams have won a national championship. Penn State, 2 touchdown win over USC, the #1 team in the country. Penn State wins the best team in the video. We know this is fiction, folks. Penn State wins the best team in the video. They play LSU in New Orleans. They're on the road in the national championship game. Can they get their second national championship of the video? We will see. They aren't able to pull it off. LSU gets the 2027 national championship game by 2 tutties at home in the Superdome. Penn State falls just short of winning 2 national championships, but they do get the best team in the video, and they would have made it back into the Pac-12 for the next season if we were to go any further.